Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into something exciting. The whole world of studying in Australia, if you're an international student. If you've ever sort of dreamt about getting a great education, but also having a massive adventure, well, this is definitely for you.
Yeah, and the sources we're looking at today, they're really quite insightful, almost like a shortcut to understanding what's involved. Our goal here is really just to pull out the most important bits, maybe some surprising facts, give you the whole picture without it being too overwhelming.
Exactly. So our mission, let's call it, for this deep dive is to cover, well, pretty much everything. How you manage money, where you might live, the universities themselves, the courses, and yeah, absolutely, those amazing travel opportunities you only really get down under. Let's jump in. Okay, so let's start with probably the first thing many students think about: money, finances. What do the sources say about working while you study in Australia? Is that feasible?
It's very feasible. And what's key here, according to the sources, is the flexibility. So international students can legally work up to 48 hours per fortnight when they're actually studying during term time. But, and this is the really good part, during the official semester breaks, that cap is gone. You can work unlimited hours, which, can make a huge difference to your budget.
Wow, okay, that 48 hours and then unlimited breaks. That sounds like it could genuinely help manage costs. But let's be practical. What sort of hourly wage are we actually talking about? Is it, just coffee money or more substantial?
Well, the sources suggest it's pretty substantial, actually. On average, you're looking at somewhere between, say, AUD $22 and $30 per hour. Obviously, it depends a bit on the job, the industry, maybe your experience. But yeah, it's definitely enough to contribute significantly to living costs, maybe even help with tuition.
$22 to $30 Australian dollars an hour. That's pretty strong. So what kind of jobs are students typically doing to earn this? Are there common roles?
Yeah, the sources point to a few popular areas. Cafe work, like being a barista, that's huge. Also general hospitality, restaurants, bars, and retail jobs, especially in the cities. Then you've got things like Uber Eats. Food delivery offers that flexibility. And some students do tutoring, maybe babysitting if they have the right skills or connections. There's a really critical tip in the sources, though. Always get a valid tax file number, a TFN. And they strongly advise avoiding any kind of cash-in-hand work. The type that might seem easy but could leave you open to being exploited. Transparency is vital.
That's super important advice. Work safely, legally. So for you listening, knowing this earning potential, it really helps, doesn't it? Helps you plan properly, budget realistically. It sort of changes the game a bit, knowing you can earn decent money. Okay, so money is one big piece. The next massive question is where? Where should you actually set up camp? The sources mention some really fantastic cities that are popular with students. What's the general feeling about them?
They really do highlight some great places. And while, each city definitely has its own personality, its own vibe, the sources emphasize they share some common important traits. They're all seen as very safe, really multicultural, and generally just great for students. It's more about finding the city that fits your personal style,
Right, makes sense. Let's look at some specifics then. Melbourne comes up a lot. What's the draw there?
Melbourne is consistently described as the cultural capital. Amazing food scene, really vibrant arts, coffee culture, and of course, world-class universities right there. It's for someone who loves that busy, dynamic, maybe slightly European city feel.
Okay, dynamic. And then for someone who maybe prefers, sun and surf, Sydney seems like the obvious contender.
Absolutely. Sydney gets highlighted for its globally famous universities too, but it combines that academic side with this incredible outdoor lifestyle. The harbor, the beaches like Bondi.
Yep.
They're not just postcard pictures, they're part of everyday life for students there.
Right, the iconic stuff. But what about cities that maybe offer a slightly different pace, or frankly might be a bit cheaper, like Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide? Do the sources talk about those?
Oh yeah, definitely. Brisbane gets mentioned for its fantastic weather, very warm, and often a more affordable cost of living compared to Sydney or Melbourne. A bit more laid back maybe, but still vibrant. Perth over on the West Coast is praised for being really clean, green, modern, high quality of life, maybe a bit quieter, isolated perhaps, but beautiful. And then Adelaide often comes up as being even more affordable, particularly rent-wise. It's known for a really relaxed pace, maybe ideal if you want fewer distractions.
Okay, so a real range there. Brisbane for warmth and affordability, Perth for that clean, modern feel, Adelaide for maybe being easier on the wallet and a bit quieter. So for you, our listener, it's really about thinking, what do you want? That big city buzz, or something maybe a bit more chilled, possibly more affordable, lots of great options. All right, let's shift gears to the core reason people go, the academics. What really struck me in the sources is how many top-tier, globally ranked universities Australia actually has. Which ones stand out?
Yeah, it's quite impressive. Australia really punches above its weight in higher education. The sources consistently mention the University of Melbourne, ANU, that's the Australian National University in Canberra, the University of Sydney, University of Queensland, or UQ in Brisbane, and UNSW, the University of New South Wales, also in Sydney. These are all, regularly ranked among the world's best, seriously high quality.
Okay, those are some big names. So beyond the where, what about the what? What are international students actually choosing to study? Are there particularly popular courses mentioned?
Yes, there are definite trends. Business and management programs are incredibly popular, always in demand globally, right? Nursing and healthcare also attract a lot of students. And the sources suggest this is partly due to strong job prospects in Australia afterwards. Information technology, IT is another huge one, very popular. Then you've got fields like law, environmental science, which makes sense given Australia's unique environment, and also hospitality and tourism management. Again, probably linked to Australia's appeal as a destination itself.
Right, and it sounds like those choices often connect to potential career paths, maybe even post-study work opportunities. So for you listening, this is really useful. You can see where Australia's strengths lie academically and maybe how that matches up with your own goals, your career plans. Okay, so let's imagine. You figured out the money side, you picked your city, your uni, your course, but student life isn't just about studying, right? What about exploring? The sources make Australia sound like, well, an explorer's dream.
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge part of the appeal highlighted in the sources. Australia isn't just where you get your degree. It's this vast, incredible continent offering amazing travel and adventure. Those study breaks become real opportunities for exploration. It's more than just hitting the books.
That's the exciting part. So what specific places do the sources recommend? Where should students be thinking of heading on those breaks?
The list is pretty amazing and really diverse. You've got the Gold Coast thinks surf, sun, theme parks, lots of energy. Then completely different, Uluru and Alice Springs. That's the real outback experience, the spiritual heart of the country. A must-do, they say. Obviously, the Great Barrier Reef, world's biggest coral reef system, incredible marine life. There's something a bit different, Phillip Island near Melbourne, famous for its penguin parade at sunset. Lots of nature. You can't miss Sydney's icons, Mount Christie Opera House, climbing the Harbour Bridge, Bondi Beach. And for maybe the foodies and wine lovers, the Barossa Valley near Adelaide. World-class wineries, beautiful scenery.
Wow, okay. Gold Coast, Uluru, the Reef, penguins, Sydney icons, wine country. That's an incredible range of experiences. Is there any advice in the sources about when to do this traveling, like how to fit it in?
Yeah, the clear advice is to plan these bigger trips for the semester breaks, the mid-year break or the long summer break, or even longer public holiday weekends. It just means you can properly enjoy it without worrying about assignments or exams piling up. Use that downtime wisely.
That makes total sense. Maximize the fun, minimize the academic stress. It really highlights that unique package Australia offers, doesn't it? You get this top quality education, but also these once-in-a-lifetime travel adventures literally on your doorstep. So let's wrap this up. We've covered a huge amount in this deep dive on study in Australia. What's the big picture takeaway?
I think the sources paint a really compelling picture. You've got excellent education standards, cities that are safe and welcoming, amazing opportunities to travel and explore, plus that really valuable chance to actually earn good money while you're learning. It's kind of the whole package.
Yeah, it really seems like it. Based on everything we've discussed from these sources, whether your priority is that world-class degree or boosting your career or just having incredible adventures, Australia looks like it could be, well, a fantastic choice.
And that leads to maybe a final thought for you to consider. How might actually living and studying in a place that's so diverse, so vast, so different, how might that experience shape not just your career path, but maybe your whole outlook on the world, your personal growth? Something profound to think about.